here in the South, we have started to get our first taste of the crispy fall morning. So it felt like the right time to go ahead, bite the bullet, and do the Halloween song bracket for all of you guys.
Yep, it's time to start putting that Halloween show together.
Last year, Dan and I came to the conversation with our top fives with a couple of honorable mentions. This year, we wanted to do something different because obviously we had done this concept last year, so we wanted to kind of like ramp it up a little bit. The criteria, though, is a little bit different. So we took some of the songs that we picked from our last top 10. The rest of these, some of these were suggestions from the Patreon Slack channel and just some other various kind of disparate sources that I pulled together. We then took those songs and kind of had a conversation around which of these tunes would actually be songs that a cover band would play. Because as much as I love Nightmare on My Street by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, the likelihood of a band pulling that out is not super high.
No.
So the seeding was actually a very contentious topic on the Slack channel.
Yep.
We tried to put them together as closely as we could. They may not necessarily be even matched, but they are categorically similar. So that was kind of the whole intent behind that. So we have our Sweet 16, and we're going to work our way through it.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
All right, let's get into this.
I think it's go time.
Here we go.
Round one. This one I'm calling the Paranoid 80s Halloween tune bracket.
Yep.
Contestant number one is Somebody's Watching Me by Rockwell featuring an uncredited Michael Jackson. We all know it was him.
We all do.
Going up against Who Can It Be Now? So what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't really think of Who Can It Be Now as a Halloween-y kind of tune. Watching Me is clearly like all about spooky, scary, paranoia. It's a scary number meant to be. Who Can It Be Now? I can bend there in my head, but I don't quite think it's on theme. It's a far better song.
Yeah.
So there's that.
It's got like an 8-bar saxophone break.
Yes.
So
yeah. Gotta love a sax break.
You tipped your hand on this one.
I did. Yeah. One's a Halloween song and the other's kind of not.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you.
All right. I think it's Watching Me.
I think Watching Me is the way to go. You know, Watching Me is definitely the song that Members Only plays during this season, and we don't do Who Can It Be Now, which is, we probably need to add some minute work in our deal. We don't have a saxophone player, if I'm being perfectly honest.
It's tough.
All right. Easy peasy. Watching Me advances to the next round.
Yeah.
Next matchup is what I'm calling the spooky sultry category.
Yeah.
And we wanted to make sure that we weren't just doing songs that
the two old white guys version.
Yeah, the guys in their 40s picking the songs go. So we picked a newer song and then an old, what I would consider a classic. So in this round, we've got Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish and Devil Inside by NXS.
Yeah.
I think both of them kind of fill that spot in a set. It's kind of like the intent is, well, it's kind of sultry, kind of spooky.
Yeah. A little.
I will tell you this: if we were putting them up against each other based on music video, Bury a Friend wins.
Forget it,
hands down.
Yeah, I was unfamiliar with the song until I was preparing to talk to you today, and I got ready by watching the video, and it's really something. It is straight out of American Horror Story or something. It's really well done. That said, I'm not sure it's a song your average cover band's gonna pull out. I don't quite think I see myself ever as a cover band playing Bury a Friend. I'm not sure I see that happening.
So I was willing to kind of go with you down that road until I saw your buddies in Maneskin do a version of it.
Now, I saw a link to that. I didn't actually watch it. I should have.
So Maneskin, and there's a bunch of live band versions of Bury a Friend on YouTube, but I wanted to add it because I thought it was a contemporary song that is big enough in the zeitgeist that you could get people on the dance floor to dance on it.
It's a thumper, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then seeing the Maneskin version, it's all live instrumentation.
Huh. All right.
And I think it's worth thinking about.
All right.
That being said, we've done Devil Inside.
And I'm sure it crushes.
It's a good one.
Yeah. The thing with NXS, and I've always felt this ever since my junior year in high school when Kick came out, their songs are so painfully repetitive. Like, I love them. I'm a big fan. Had that album, listened the hell out of it, but their songs are just like one riff times 50, and that's the song. So, I don't know. The risk is that then that drags, that becomes a bummer. They never had it be a bummer when they played it, either on the recording or live, but that is the risk as you're covering it, that it turned into sort of a death march of a song.
Yeah. All right. Well, then, what are you thinking about this then?
I feel like just from the likelihood of an audience picking up on it and knowing it and getting into it, I feel like it's Devil.
Okay. I'm going to go and I'm going to call you an old man, and I'm going to pick Bury a Friend. Now, this would normally be a scenario where we would bring in a third party, so...
I can get with you. I like Bury a Friend. I don't feel strongly enough about Devil. I'm persuadable about this one. We'll go with Bury a Friend.
All right, so we're going to move Bury a Friend on to the next round. I don't know how long it'll last, but we'll go ahead and work our way through it.
Yep.
For the next round, this one is 80s movie soundtrack banger.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters by Ray Parker Jr. and Feed My Frankenstein by Alice Cooper. So apparently, Feed My Frankenstein is not an Alice Cooper song. It's a song originally written by British hard rock band Zodiac Mindwarp and The Love Reaction.
Sure. Absolutely. Zodiac Mindwarp
and iconic band Zodiac Mindwarp and The Love Reaction.
Obviously.
Off their album Hoodlum Thunder.
I couldn't have called that.
They're both kind of big songs with cool guitar parts. Check this out. Feed My Frankenstein, the studio band, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Nikki Sixx on bass.
Wow.
That's a hell of a lineup.
That's like a power trio.
This one, honestly, I think this is a kind of an even match for different reasons.
Yeah.
If you're going with iconic status, I think Ghostbusters
for sure
is the obvious winner.
For sure.
I don't think you can top the visual component of Alice Cooper jumping out of the ribcage of a giant skeleton.
That was really something. Part of my rubric here is put yourself there on the 31st and you play the first opening notes of a song and the room goes bonkers. Was it Ghostbusters or was it Frankenstein? I think it was clearly Ghostbusters. I think it has to have been.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But if you've never seen Alice Cooper live, Feed My Frankenstein is a big part of it. It is a focal point of their show.
Fantastic song.
This is the rock nerd in me fighting against the pop nerd in me, wanting Alice Cooper to pull this out, but I think you're right.
I don't think so.
So my apologies to Alice Cooper, and
we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We're not worthy.
Yeah.
But you got to give it. I don't know if you've heard the story about Shep Gordon getting that song into Wayne's World. They didn't want it. They wanted one of his classic songs, and getting Alice in the movie to do like the whole bit that he did was contingent on them picking that song.
All right. Well,
and Shep Gordon was not going to have it any other way.
It was the right choice.
It was the right choice. And Shep Gordon was absolutely right. It made that song iconic in a way that it would not have been otherwise.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters advances to the next round.
Ghostbusters is in.
All right, on to the next matchup. This one I'm calling slasher film classic rock.
Classic rock, yeah, for sure.
So in this round, we've got Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival against Psycho Killer, Qu'est-ce que c'est? By the Talking Heads.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Neither of them scream Halloween to me, although they're both certainly about macabre content. I play Psycho Killer at almost every show I play. So I'm always for that song. I'm comparatively much less of a fan of CCR. That's a personal thing. It's just a taste matter. I'm way more a Talking Heads dude than a CCR dude. Bad Moon Rising, the song doesn't feel spooky, right? The content, the lyrics are bad news, but the song feels like riding a freight train. Whereas Psycho Killer's all jangles and sharp edges and stuff coming at you.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of Psycho Killer, I think of American Psycho. There's no like through line there, but like when I'm thinking of the lyrical content, like, yeah, that's a Patrick Bateman
but it's not seasonal deal. Is the point.
Well, but again, it's Psycho Killer. And to me, if I have a Halloween party at the house, both of those songs are going to be on the playlist.
Sure.
But to me, I think Psycho Killer fills the gap a bit better. Bad Moon Rising's talking about, I mean, you better have your things together and best be prepared to die.
Yeah. He's bound to take your life.
For sure.
Yeah, it's not
There's
great.
A bathroom on the right.
Anyway, but for sure, I'm with you on this one. Psycho Killer is the superior choice for this one.
Psycho Killer for the win. All right. The first round of 8 has happened. Just recapping that, we've got Watchin' Me by Rockwell, Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish, Ghostbusters, and Psycho Killer. On to the other set of matchups.
Back half of the bracket.
This one is, this is probably, to me...
This is the toughest. This might be the toughest.
This is the toughest matchup.
Yeah.
to me. So in this matchup, we've got Dead Man's Party by Oingo Boingo versus The Time Warp from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
If I'm going to quote Dan Ray, The Time Warp is not a Halloween song. It's not seasonal. Rocky Horror Picture Show is not seasonal.
Did I say that? Here's the thing about that. Rocky Horror is not seasonal. It's not specifically a Halloween-y thing.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, The Time Warp occurs in most major metropolitan cities every Friday night around midnight.
Yeah, every weekend. That is fair. That is absolutely fair. And Dead Man's Party certainly feels more Halloween-y. No question about that. However, you know how often cover bands judge how it's going by people dancing? I 1,000% guarantee you will have people up and doing The Time Warp. 1,000%.
I agree with that. All right, this is me putting my musician hat on.
Yeah.
If a cover band played The Time Warp, I would be like, okay, fair play. If a cover band played Dead Man's Party, I was like, these guys are awesome.
For sure. No, listen, Dead Man's Party is a non-trivial tune to get stood up. There is a lot happening in that song. So yes, in terms of impressing other musicians in the room, the Oingo Boingo has it.
But also, like, Oingo Boingo is most well known for their annual Halloween show in LA. Like, that was like an iconic part of their shtick.
Yes. So, all right, you're winning me over here. In spite of myself, because I want Time Warp to win, but I think you're probably right that it doesn't.
As a chorus kid in the 90s, The Time Warp has a very special place in my heart. The problem is that it is not a Halloween place.
Yeah. Well, it's a costume place.
That's actually, you did that.
I know, and I have to go back in time and have a talk with myself. And listen, you're talking to somebody who went to Rocky Horror every weekend, junior and senior year of high school, and then took people in college who hadn't seen it. So, Rocky Horror has a huge place in my heart, but it's not a Halloween song.
Okay. Dead Man's Party for the win.
Right.
That was a tough one.
I had to get out of my own way to answer that one. Yeah.
If you can't have a spirited discussion around it, then the matchup wasn't really
for sure. And I like the way you stuck to your guns. I like the way you had a way that was going, and you led me there lovingly and gently. Yeah, but firmly.
We're here to discuss things that we're passionate about, but in a respectful way.
Yeah.
This one is
also hard, but for totally different reasons.
Oldie but a goodie is going to be what I'm...
and also kind of novelty tune.
Yep, and there were a couple of other songs that potentially would have made this matchup, but this round is I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins versus Monster Mash by Boris Pickett, the Crypt Kickers.
Yeah.
The other songs that were going to potentially be in this round could have been Addams Family. Purple People Eater was another one. And then Haunted House, which is one that I actually really enjoy, by it's a Gene Simmons. It's not the Gene Simmons.
Okay.
What is Jumpin' Gene Simmons?
Jumpin' Gene Simmons. I don't think I know it.
That is neither here nor there.
Yeah. And we're carefully saying the I Put a Spell on You we're talking about is the original Screamin' Jay Hawkins. It's been covered many times by many people in many styles. The Nina Simone cover is spectacular. The Annie Lennox cover is terrific. But there really is nothing quite like Screamin' Jay.
Yes, the blackout drunk.
Yeah,
absolutely unhinged,
totally accidental version of it. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know that story, he woke up in the morning having produced that in the studio the night before,
with no recollection.
No recollection of having done it, and then leaned into that. His whole career was about the character that came out of him in the studio that night. So here's the thing. Realistically, I'm going to do them both. But if we have to pick one, I'm going to pick the one that's a real song and that can be done bluesy and done creatively as demonstrated by all the covers of it. And that is Put a Spell on You.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
Because it is true. Like it is a fully fleshed out song. To me, Monster Mash is a cheesy song.
Yeah. That's a novelty song. It's meant to be. Yeah.
100%. All right. I Put a Spell on You for the win.
Excellent.
Sorry, Monster Mash. Sorry, Boris. All right, the next one, R&B Legend round. So for this round, we've got Thriller by Michael Jackson versus Superstition by Stevie Wonder. Now, this one got a little bit of pushback in the Slack channel because some people were like, well, Superstition isn't really like a spooky song. This is another one of those where you have to kind of like look at it on the merits of the lyrical content. Because yeah, you don't necessarily listen to Superstition and think of Halloween the way that you would with Thriller, but it's very much about believing in things you don't understand.
Yeah, it's in there. Now, listen, for the same reason as the Time Warp, I gotta say Superstition's not a Halloween number, and my evidence for that is I've played Superstition at almost every gig I've done, with the band at least. I don't think I've ever done it acoustic, but with the band, Superstition's been a standard for me for years. And it's not seasonal, we do it every time. Whereas Thriller, you wouldn't play Thriller anytime but Halloween.
Well, you wouldn't.
Well, you might.
80s band, it's a little bit different,
I guess.
But listen, both of these songs have absolute R&B pop legends in them.
Oh, for sure.
But only one of them has Vincent Price in them.
That is absolutely true.
All right, I love both songs, but between that and just watching the making of documentary of the Thriller thing, I was absolutely obsessed with Thriller.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty easy sell for me.
For sure.
And very rarely would you get a zombie flick wrapped up in a werewolf flick and like a banger of a pop song like all together.
Right. Thriller, I will say Thriller was the first album I bought with my own money on vinyl. Yeah, iconic. Central to my musical discovery. Much as I love Superstition, and I do, I think it's got to be Thriller.
Agreed. All right, moving on to the next round. This one was kind of like a mixed bag. And if there were songs that we missed, coverbandconfidential@gmail.com. What are the songs that we missed? What are we absolute idiots as far as the songs that we did not include?
Yeah.
This one is going to be 70s spookiness kind of thing. So,
like opposite genres.
Honestly, I can't tell you which one would fill the dance floor
for sure.
faster, though. And I think that's kind of how they work together as far as matchup goes.
I agree.
All right. So in this round, we've got Boogeyman by Casey and the Sunshine Band versus Highway to Hell by AC/DC.
Yeah.
Two songs that could not be more different.
Right.
One of them being Boogeyman, a bit of a double meaning, little clever wordplay there.
Right.
So let's talk about it. Outside of the lyrical content, which of these do you think is going to be the one that gets the crowd going the most?
I'll just say, as I think about my set list and where it would fit into a dance medley, Boogeyman has a clear home and Highway to Hell much less so.
Okay.
I've got a bunch of tunes, like a whole sort of vintage to classic R&B soul kind of section of my show that Boogeyman would slot right into and be perfect. I don't really have a 70s hard rock section. Right? Not as much. I think for my show, it'd be Boogeyman.
To me, I'm thinking about the end result. What am I going to get when I play either one of these songs? And for me, do I want a bunch of dudes like pumping their fists right in front of the stage?
Exactly.
I don't think I do.
No.
So for the sausage factor, Boogeyman gets the pick.
Boogeyman gets the pick.
Sweet 16 is down.
Time to refine here.
It's about to get real.
About to get weird.
It is. The matchup is Watchin' Me by Rockwell versus Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish.
I regret that this paints me as an elder statesman, but the reality is the shows I play, somebody watching me is going to get known and Bury a Friend's not.
Yeah, I think this matchup puts these songs into clearer focus.
Yeah.
Both of these songs are spooky songs that you could play on a Halloween set. One of them has Michael Jackson in it.
Yeah.
I'm saying, based on the fact that Michael Jackson is 1 degree separated from Vincent Price.
Wow. We might end up, and they're in opposite sides of the bracket, so we might actually end up with a Michael down.
Wow.
That could happen.
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
So for this round, Watching Me gets the pick.
For sure.
Sorry, Billy.
I
think she'll be okay.
She doesn't care what we think.
I don't think so.
She's made that clear.
She's made that clear. I love that. Based on all of the correspondence we've had with Billie Eilish, she has made it abundantly clear that our opinion is of no importance to her.
That's right.
All right. Now we've got Ghostbusters versus Psycho Killer. So this is where we start talking about seasonality and appropriateness in regards to the event.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Just in terms of the quality of the song, Psycho Killer is so far out ahead of Ghostbusters, it's not even funny.
Okay.
The songwriting of Psycho Killer is, let alone that it was an original song and not a ripoff. It's just so vastly better, right? But arguably, you listen to it, and for sure, I've played it in it's like Superstition for me. I've played it in every show I've done for a long, long time. So it doesn't feel seasonal to my regulars. Ghostbusters absolutely would be like, oh, they learned Ghostbusters. It'd be a thing. So I'm very torn on this one.
So again, if we're talking about a Halloween party,
that's who you're going to call.
Who are you going to call? Not David Byrne. Sorry, Ghostbusters for the win.
The jacket is spooky, but
other than that,
we'll leave him aside. Okay, Ghostbusters it is.
All right, back to the other side. It's funny how things that will make it out of the first round don't quite line up when you start.
The initial pairs made a lot of sense together, and now it's like, really? What? I don't. For instance,
these next 2 rounds are going to be very easy picks. Dead Man's Party versus I Put a Spell on You.
Yeah, listen, I love I Put a Spell on You, but it's nothing compared to Dead Man's Party.
Don't run away, man. It's only me.
All right.
So Dead Man's Party gets. There is no discussion.
Yeah,
it is the superior song.
100%. And I'm of the two, just given the challenges of mounting Dead Man's Party, the one I'm going to play is I Put a Spell on You, but the one I should play is Dead Man's Party. So maybe I'll Maybe I'll take another whack at that. How hard could it be, really?
We've tried it. It's pretty hard.
It's pretty hard. Yeah.
It's pretty hard. All right, next round, Thriller versus Boogeyman. I mean,
again, one is iconic and perfect in a lot of ways, and the other is Boogeyman.
The other one is Boogeyman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Casey, man.
Sorry, yeah, well.
Thriller advances to the next round.
All right, final four.
It's Watching Me and Ghostbusters, Dead Man's Party, and Thriller.
Yeah.
That Dead Man's Party Thriller one,
that's gonna be hard.
that is a hell of a matchup.
Yeah. Should we start there?
No, because I have a sinking suspicion that whoever wins that round is going to win the whole
Me too.
enchilada.
Me too. Good point. Because then there's a who should be second. Watching Me or Ghostbusters. Let's face it, neither of them are jewel diamond crafted songwriting paragons. But I think it's got to be Watching Me. If it's Halloween, Watching Me feels more Halloweeny than Ghostbusters by just a hair.
I'm going to push back on that because I know as a guy in an 80s band, if we were playing a Halloween party and we're only going to play one of those songs.
Yeah.
I know if we picked Watch Me, people would be pretty pissed off.
If they knew that was the choice?
If we did not play Ghostbusters and we walked off stage, people would be like, why didn't you play Ghostbusters?
What just happened here? I've been ripped off.
If we didn't play Watching Me,
no one would notice.
No one would say anything.
Yeah.
I think in the pantheon of, again, Halloween party songs.
Okay. Yeah.
Essentials.
The essentials. All right. I'm with you. Ghostbusters.
And again, Ray Parker Jr., look at his discography and look what he played on. Ray Parker Jr. contributed much more to popular music than Rockwell ever did.
Yeah. Almost as much as Huey Lewis.
You're being real hard on Ray Parker Jr. right
Listen,
now.
I'm just saying, I want a new drug is all there is to it.
I'm going to let that slide, but I'm going to send you a link to Ray Parker Jr.'s discography on the stuff.
I'm with you. I'm with you. He's legit.
But again, if somebody was like, I need you to write a song for a movie called Ghostbusters, what is it going to sound like?
I mean, I would probably want a new drug before I started working on it.
You wouldn't need one because if you wrote Ghostbusters, you could have all the cocaine you wanted.
You could buy the old drugs.
You could, the good ones.
Yeah.
One that makes me feel like I feel when I have enough money to buy all the cocaine in
drugs.
The 80s. Yeah. All right. Ghostbusters makes it to the final round. This next one is a real ball buster,
it's
though.
a ripper. This one is.
So this round is Dead Man's Party versus Thriller.
God.
This one you have to argue it on the merits of timelessness.
All right, go for that. I have another take when you're done.
This is me changing hats. I was the musician. I used the musician's hat on the last two rounds with Dead Man's Party. I'm putting on my audience hat.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, I'll put my musician's hat back on. I don't even care. We've done many Halloween parties and not played Dead Man's Party. We've definitely played Thriller. If you were to play one and not the other, I still think Thriller is the one that gets the most static if you don't play it.
I can't argue with that. That makes a ton of sense. Let me put on this hat. As a gentleman who graduated from high school in 1991 and who went to high school dances, sometimes it happened. Don't look at me like that. It was a Sadie Hawkins dance. I don't know. Maybe Valentine's was done Sadie Hawkins or something. And my friend Lisa, who I'd have been all right with it being more than friends, but it never ended up there. But she was pretty great, and she invited me to go as friends, and we were all in the same group of friends, and we went as a big bunch and walked into this dance. And as we were walking in, what the DJ was playing was Dead Man's Party. Now, it was not a Halloween themed dance. It just happened that song was on the charts right then. That moment is very much lodged in my brain, and so I have feelings about Dead Man's Party. It takes me back to a good time in my life with good people that I liked, and an important night that felt good. And I feel like that's fundamentally our job as cover artists, is to bring people back to those moments from their, adolescence, young adulthood. Like, that nostalgia is a really important thing. So while I admit that's a fully personal take, I do have strong feelings about Dead Man's Party. That said, Thriller, of course, it's hard to escape. That's one of the most iconic recordings of all time and videos. It comes down, to me, like maybe the same question that we asked for Boogeyman versus Highway to Hell. Which do you want? Like a room of people bopping around a Dead Man's Party, or a bunch of people doing the video dance, the Thriller dance that looks like a particular thing, and the whole room will do it. That's a moment. That's a vibe. That's unmistakable. So I think I've talked myself into it, Adam. I think I've talked myself into Thriller. I think I have. Yeah.
God darn it.
Yeah.
Listen,
I had to work my way there, man. That was hard. That was hard.
Listen, I love that story, though. Yeah. It's a great story.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing that, like, when we're playing, I think we lose sight of all that we're triggering in our audience's brains, like all the history we're bringing up for them. And that's part of what makes cover music so great, is because it like all of these memories and emotions and like all this great stuff from my past comes welling up when I hear that song that I haven't heard in 10 years. Oh my God. You know, that moment is so juicy. It's why I play covers. And Dead Man's Party is certainly a tune that's like that for me.
But on the same note, the album version of Dead Man's Party is kind of long.
Yes.
And it does kind of meander.
Yes.
And the structure is kind of odd.
Yes.
That's one thing you can say about Thriller is that the structure is
dead reliable.
Impeccable.
Yeah. No.
There's not an ounce of wasted energy in that song.
Yeah. Airtight songwriting for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how does it stack up against our other finalist, Ghostbusters?
So this is where your argument really starts to hold some weight, because we're dealing with what we were just talking about, Thriller, which is an absolute masterpiece in pop music. The structure, the instrumentation, the vocal arrangements, the production, immaculate. And Ghostbusters is Ghostbusters.
Well, all right. The film Ghostbusters, awful darn iconic too. You know, I'm not going to short sell that, but it ain't Thriller.
Again, one of them has Vincent Price rapping in it.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson got Vincent Price to say y'alls.
Y'alls. Yeah.
That's got to stand for something.
It does.
Ghostbusters is an iconic song, but it ain't no Thriller.
It ain't no Thriller, but it's good enough for number 2.
You know what? Ricky Bobby would say, if you ain't first, you're last, but I disagree. Because if you ain't first, you're Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Who can it be now as last?
That's the other thing. Like, we put some real classics in the bin on that first round.
Time Warp. Superstition went in the bin in the first round.
Devil Inside.
Hard. It's hard. It's really hard. Feed My Frankenstein, for God's sake.
Yes, that timeless classic by Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction.
Yeah.
Anywho, Thriller for the win.
Thriller for the win.
This one was kind of hard.
Yeah.
I had to argue against my own best interest.
Yeah, I had to overcome my own self 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
For sure. But man, what a list. And listen, if you did any of those 16 songs, pick any 5 for your show, and guess what?
Yep.
Your crowd is going to love it.
Yep, totally.
You do all 16, you're an absolute legend.
Yep.
So get to it. And like I said, if there were songs that we should have put in the bracket that we missed, email us, coverbandconfidential@gmail.com.